So you eat the egg. And then you now cook another one for me the next day. And these are the things that everybody faces, but it was aggravated because of social media. And how many of us even post something like that on social media? And that is why we have to tap into every kind of power we have to solve problems like this. So if you've ever been stuck in go slow, if your delivery has ever been cancelled, if they deliver to you 2:30 a.m. in the morning, when it's not that you are doing video, you have something to do here. And I think that, especially if you are working in logistics industry, I think you should listen carefully to help us help ourselves. Because when I call a customer care and I want to cancel, I'm not laughing. I'm telling you that, guy, if I see your leg in my compound, I will change it for all of you. And then, so now we've been able to recognize that, sorry, I'm still, so follow me very carefully. I'm trying to do this thing. Okay, I think I'm trying, yeah. So geospatial intelligence in logistics is very, very important, extremely important. You start talking about geospatial when you have a particular location for everybody. So where you are can actually produce tons of data for me based on just where you're sitting. Not to talk of you trying to be mobile from a particular place to the other, right? And then it means that you've covered a specific kind of distance. I could bring out your meter. I could predict a lot of things about you. So it's actually a trusted advisor that helps you build strategy and helps you make sense of the mystery of your surroundings, really. I guess that if you've not been here before, one of the things that you actually did before getting here was to actually open your Google Maps and then start saying, Omo, where is this a cozy place like this? God, oh, but I'm not in Agege. And all of that, right? That is how you can leverage geospatial intelligence at its fundamental level. Fundamental level. Everybody uses it, either you like it or not. But currently, we'll be talking about geospatial intelligence. And when I'm talking, I just want you read this thing. These are not really the things we want to talk about. And then I want you to concentrate on some of the things I'll be talking to you about. So there are a lot of geospatial intelligence is a multidisciplinary field, right? You have geospatial intelligence in health. COVID, I had some projects to do on COVID. I did a project on terrorism. I'm talking now on transport. I do stuff on flooding, drought, and all kinds of things. So it's actually a multidisciplinary field. And it helps you, so let me talk about some terminologies that I'll be mentioning. We have GIS, Geographic Information Systems. You have remote sensing. I could mention GPS too, because I'm really avoiding to mention some technical jargon, right? GPS and all of that. So GIS are the tools that helps you make sense of the data you get. Very good. So every time you are working and your location data is on, I'm sorry, but I can use that data for or against you every time. Right, and that's why I'm very paranoid in putting on my location every time. Like somebody somewhere is looking at my life like this. I won't tell you where I am and all of that, but there's still those guys do it. Right? So that is GIS. So when you get those data, I can make sense of it. I can start predicting that this person has gone through these routes a lot of times. This person is going to this town Sunday. Without meeting you, I can say this is the church you attend, this is the mosque you go to worship, this you have party next week. Hey, this guy is always going to party. Every Saturday is always wearing out. You can make so much sense out of that kind of data. Now, remote sensing is what helps you get the data in the first place. So, a university definition of remote sensing can be getting information in a place without being in physical contact with that particular place. A university definition. So, a very good example is I can, all of those satellite images you see on, probably when you switch on your Google map, you can switch to satellite view and all of that. Yes, I actually have many of those views personally on my laptop because of the work I do, and I can pull out tons of meanings from it. But what gives you those data is what is called remote sensing. So you could use tools like satellites, It could use tools like multispectral imagery. It could use tools like panchrometer. Yeah. But those things just get you data without being in physical contact with it. Then when we're talking about GPS simply means global positioning systems, such that wherever I am, I can be able to take the longitude and latitude of that position at that specific time, right? And so for everyone seated here, you have, come please, can you come? So sorry for bothering you, please. Yeah, so it looks like we are near each other, but both of us, we have different references according to spatial structure. Now, it is that if I take a GPS now and I click it, it gives me some three data sets. The first is latitude, the second is longitude, and the third is elevation, right? So the data set it will get for both of us, they are actually very different, because it looks like we are standing in the same place, but no, we are not standing in the same place. So everybody has a specific longitude and latitude towards that person. And it's just like you can sit down, please. Thank you very much. It's just like your fingerprints. No, they say no two fingerprints is the same. So it's like that. So I can decide to like do a lot of things with that. Let's continue. Now, we now look at, after understanding what GIS is, the tools you use to make sense of data, understanding what geospatial intelligence is, the ability to make sense out of the mystery of your surrounding, and we understand what remote sensing is, getting information without directly being in that place. We need to now say that, why do we need geospatial intelligence? First things first, geospatial intelligence is extremely big on data sets. And that's why I'm here today, right? Extremely big on data sets. And one of the first reasons, there's something I decided to call the 3 V's of data, right? You can decide to quote me on it. The first one is the volume of the data set. Now, they were reading a particular stats in the morning that we generate about 2.5 terabytes of data every day. Do you know how insane that is? Extremely insane. 2.5 terabytes. I do like 1 terabyte per year data. I dey try finish am between 9 months. And then imagine having 2 terabytes of something pumping into world economy every day. That's so intense. And then one of the ways by which, and spatial data is about 30 to 40% of this, right? And then one of the ways by which you like make sense of that entire data is through geospatial intelligence, because you have to make sense of the volume of data. Do you even know the amount of data you yourself you give to data agencies every day? Every day. And that's why I'm very paranoid. All these cookies that I see, all this location, I'm always very, because we consistently give out a lot of things every day. Like I came here today, somebody already knew that I came to this place today. If I don't come here today, they say that, oh, don't let us target him, he's not an Ikeja indigen or something like that. That's how much you like give people. And then people know, when they have that data, they know how and where to come through to you to buy. A lot of the things we get, or a lot of the things we buy, are actually premeditated based on the data you've given people. There is a particular book I actually read. I don't have time to go there. They know if you are pregnant, even when you don't know you are pregnant. Yes, I think it should be habit or something like that. Something based on habit. Extremely awkward stuff. So there is a whole lot of volume of data, and we have to make sense of this data. And I can still tell you that we are still scratching the surface, no matter how much machine learning engineering we're still doing. And then the next one is actually the variety of data. So we have sales data, we have different kinds of data. But the kind of data that we actually work with majorly is, you can have every other attribute, but you must have longitude and latitude, because you need that to actually do your spatial analysis. If you don't have longitude and latitude attached to a particular data, then it's as good as doing normal data wrangling and all of those things that every other person does. But for it to actually display, have a cluster of environments, have a cluster of data sets, then Yeah, you need longitude and latitude. So there are there are various types of that. I don't want to start going into vector, raster, blah, blah, blah. There's no time for all of this. And then the velocity at which the data travels, the velocity at which it comes in is so fast. We can't just put it at meter per second because it's not something that is physical. But it is very, very fast. Data travels everywhere. The more you're moving, the more you're giving me geospatial data. The more you're living somewhere, the more you're giving me geospatial data. The more you're sleeping in a house and waking up in a house where you think those are normal things, I'm actually getting data about you. So if they can pull out data about your life, I can predict probably next 5 years or 10 years of your life, except with Jackpot actually. Yes, they love bro. I'm so excited about whatever you can pull out data from. Just don't do the opposite side of it. It should just be ethical. And then there are also industry challenges, right? Challenges are what feeds us. Problems are what feeds us. In fact, the reason why we are all radiant like this is because you are solving a particular problem for a particular company or probably your self-made startup and all of that. So there's a lot of problem with route, especially in Nigeria and Africa. A lot of extreme problems with route. And then route optimization necessitates this. It's even compulsory. And okay, there are some things I can't really share. And then it's that every time you're trying to optimize route, there is always a give and take, such that you're trying to build routes in a particular place and you see people demolition. It's just, those are some kinds of route optimization. We'll still go deep into that as we go. Resource allocation, I think one of the very big things about resource allocation is we look at it from a very high-level standpoint where you can just allocate resource to, put 15 food in that row. There are like 15 people there. This one. And then, but when you start looking at it from the area of spatial intelligence, you start seeing that there is more. There is so much there is so much reasons why you decide to allocate resources to certain places rather than to certain places. So for example, the project I did, I think I can say this now. The project I did with Maiduguri and terrorism was that I have to find a way that the people that are really affected and the people that are dead, may their soul rest in peace. The people that are affected really, I'm trying to look at their access to healthcare. And do you know what I discovered that still shocks me till tomorrow is that the place that terrorism occurs the most have the less access to healthcare. And I'm like, what? These people are dying. These people, they are not even bombing that place too much, and there are not even hospitals here. So you look at how resource allocation would have happened without GIS and how it would transform the resource allocation after geospatial intelligence. And then the next thing is inventory management. How you manage your inventories, how you make sure that what goes out with what comes in actually like balances out each other, right? What? How many minutes? How many minutes did I hear? I'm sorry, is this thing? Okay. So one of the ways I planned to do this was to just talk practical things. How can you use this? Not some technical jargon. How can you use this? How does it like pose to be a solution to our world? And the first thing is efficient route planning. Now, disclaimer. The solution of the Nigerian logistics industry or transport is very, very complex. I've been reading about this problem since probably I was in final year. And then I found out that a lot of people don't even like decide to venture into these things because you are going to definitely see Shege Pro Max. You're definitely going to see it. And then it's to say that the solution will come as a partnership between the experts and the government. This thing will burn money. Owo, kudi, ego. I don't know how to call it in Hausa. Who will help me? Money in Hausa. Okay, it's kudi. Oh, I don't know. So it will burn money. Because you're talking about efficient route management, optimization, and planning. So one of the very places that we can all begin with, which is not really about many of us here, is the potholes that we have, the bad roads that we have. Please fix them up. right? It's one of those, I think it's the first step majorly. When I get opportunities to do some of this government, it is, if you can fix these ones, we'll still make do of this without building something else, building an overhead bridge. Everybody wants to build overhead bridge and do like this and do like, it's very good, but fix the ones we have. At least, mostly they use one chop. Before you like start building another one, when you do that now, you close a particular place or a particular portion of the whole thing and everything becomes rowdy. Fix the first ones we have. Then they don't do that. And then that involves the issue of traffic that we currently have. Every time I have to go through Highland, a lot of the time because of work. And then as I'm approaching, my mind is doing bing, bing. Because I know that I'll have to buy extra white handkerchief because of sweat. if I'm in a yellow bus, right? Or if I'm in downfall and all of that. So these are the issues. Another thing that I've always suggested is that one of the major things we carry out as geospatial analysts or scientists is actually what we call I don't have one name to it, but such that a particular destination is linked by lots of roads. That I actually have options to go through different routes than having to go through the same route with 5,000 other people. And you know how many cars are in Lagos? People have money in this place. Oh. People have money. We wanted to park. We had to enter. I was like, I hope I'm still inside this. Because a lot of cars are in Lagos and then everybody jumps on the road. On a Monday, they increased fuel. People entered small. Everybody are back. We're back. And then you consistently see that you're going to the island, you just have these two roads, pam, 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 there is nothing else and all of that. So it actually contributes so bad and so much to attract. I've done a lot of network analysis that could shorten routes, that could do this, that could do that, but then it needs tons of budget and all of that. Then the second one is weather considerations. Now, weather considerations and dynamic real-time updates is such that there is a central meteorological hub. I did a bit of meteorology. I think you would do it if you're a geospatial person too. There's a central meteorology hub that you can use to track what weather would be talking about, right? What weather is. Probably there's going to be rain or flooding and all of that. And then you could like send message probably to your dispatch rider, and then you stop the person from going and you communicate to the customer, or probably there's an accident or something. But for weather, flood, extreme rain, and all of those things. We don't have snow in Nigeria. We don't have mint in Nigeria. So weather considerations, I'm trying to move very fast now. Then dynamic and real-time updates. One thing I've always said is that if the whole notification can be concentrated on a central hub, and then messages are sent out to dispatch riders or transport or drivers, truck drivers or something like that, that if you are passing Ibadan, there is currently an hold-up, by the way, or there is an accident, or there is this or there is that, because it is extremely possible, very, very possible. I've seen models that this work on, and if you're thinking you're doing small businesses and I've not touched you, I think we'll touch you with time. So I think dynamic and real-time updates will really, really solve a lot of problems. And I think when you're doing business, what you essentially want is your customer satisfaction. So if you call me and you say that there is except it's emergency, right? There is an accident on this road, probably a truck fell and all of that. You're trying to take another route. I don't think I would like call you and start telling you, hey, don't come, I don't like this and all of that, except I'm unreasonable, right? So efficient route planning is one of those practical case studies where that can extremely improve the logistics and transport industry, right? I don't like why, sorry, I'm not used to supply chain optimization. When we talk about supply chain, one of the things, I think everybody understands what supply chain is. And it's actually that you are trying to supply a particular good to another destination, from a particular location to another destination. And on the surface, it looks easy, or it looks, hey, I have demand here, let's just carry. But have you ever considered that if you get the locational data of your suppliers or the people who demand from you, there is something called cluster analysis that we do, and I will explain cluster analysis. It is that when you get it, you classify everybody based on a particular cluster. So you know that, hey, why do I have a lot of demand from Ikeja? And that's where the work starts. Because you know you are from Ikeja, but why? The psychology of the people buying from Ikeja, the way they think, what do they do? What are the activities that informs that Ikeja people actually order more than Ikorodu people? And then, do I want to build a physical store in Ikeja because I can concentrate my energy on this? Remember the 80-20 principle, right? 80% of your sales come from 20% of the people and all of that, right? So do I want to do all of this? And then you see that you immediately see the way you do your supply chain. And that's what we call demand forecasting. Such that you can forecast where most of your demands come from. You can do research on their psyche, their consumer thinking, their habits, what informs them to like order from me, what informs them to do certain things. And then the cluster helps you analyze that particular geographical area. It might just shock you that it is just somebody that talks about it and everything goes far. Do I want to talk about it and all of that? Then the third one is fleet management, maintenance predictions. Okay. We have fleet management. I think this is usually for those that are in logistics, right? Those that are actually working in a company that manage a lot of cargo guys, right? Dangote trucks and all of those things. And you know, there is one thing I've seen about fleet management in my little understanding, and it is that those guys they can be negligent to a point of fault, such that you keep repairing the truck every time because they just run through it, run in potholes and all of that. Now, one of the things I don't want to go into really is the partnership between geospatial intelligence and Internet of Things, because I think that will involve a lot of technical issues. But one thing that is very, very important for every fleet management company is that you have to introduce Internet of Things. And what are the reasons? The first reason is for optimization of the vehicle and maintenance of the vehicle. So when I worked in airport, right, National Space Management Agency, right, I was privileged to intern there. There is a way that you see the plane moving while you're here, and then what they actually use is radar. Really, radar. You don't have to bother about this. Radar, and you see how the plane moves, and then that's how you can communicate. And then the moment, God forbid, but it happens, the moment the plane moves out of sight, then you know that the plane is in looming danger and you can do stuff. Same thing can be done with trucks, such that their movement is being monitored by somebody in Lagos. You are monitoring somebody going to Adamawa. It is not because of micromanagement or because you want to be calling the driver every 5 minutes. The reason why I actually encourage that is such that first of all, I can calculate the number of kilometers you travel every day. Geospatial intelligence in logistics. Logistics doesn't make it sound smooth. Geospatial intelligence. Yeah. So the reason why you have to include Internet of Things is that you can measure the kilometers. I think they call it mileage. I'm not sure. Yeah, mileage. I can determine the number of kilometers you're traveling. I can see if you have a problem. So if you are staying probably more than 15 minutes or 20 minutes and it's not that you are hitting, we can send rescue operation or something like that. And then that even enables the company, right, to consistently service the car. So based on the number of kilometers, and you give that to a mechanic or an automobile engineer, you can say that you should bring it for service for every 15 months or something like that, right? So to ensure to ensure consistent delivery. Then real-time vehicle tracking, optimizing vehicle usage, and all of that. I really want to move fast because 30 minutes is like 5 minutes now. I really do understand. Last mile delivery, right? Last mile delivery is that point where they get to deliver your property to you, right? So you order, let's say, do they order cars? So you order Porsche because people are big here. So that moment when they drive you to your compound and then they hand the key over to you. I think yes, that's the last mile delivery. And one of the very interesting things about geospatial intelligence for last mile delivery is actually that you can confirm the delivery. So I was talking about food. Hey, that guy that wanted to keep somebody's food in freezer. If there had been something around geospatial intelligence that tracks his or her movement, they could have known that this guy did not go to where we sent him. And then instead of the customer bashing them, they would have first called and then they would have known how to like handle the whole situation from their hand, right? So it helps you like deliver the whole, confirm the whole delivery process. Then real-time tracking, I've mentioned that. Then route optimization. You see, another thing with route optimization is this. Let me say this. One of the things with route optimization is not only going through a path, it is going through the shortest and available path. Shortest, available, shortest, available. And it's not even about fuel issue now. Everything we are doing when it comes to transport and logistics is a race against time. You always want to, so if I'm going to Abuja now, it's not that I can't go to GIG and do 15 hours or 11 hours or something, even if there was no kidnap. But the difference between somebody taking GIG and flights, the major difference is actually time. I'll get somewhere in 1 hour, 30 minutes rather than spending 10 hours of my life actually there. So if geospatial intelligence does not improve the amount of time you save, then I don't think it's optimized enough, right? So then integration strategies. These integration strategies is not like across all companies. I just have to fit a lot of things inside so that you can actually you can fit it across whatever. You can pick one or two things because there are some companies that won't need machine learning models. There are some companies that won't have to train any models and all of that. But the first thing is to actually know your objectives. Why do I want to integrate geospatial intelligence? As simple as this is the problem a lot of people have. This is the problem a lot of people have. And then what are your objectives? Is it that I want to use it to track a car, or I want to use it to confirm delivery, or I want route optimization, or the engines of our trucks, they get very, very, they get bad very, very often. And I want to optimize that. What would be your objective for actually integrating geospatial intelligence? And the next thing is actually data collection and integration. You can't use geospatial intelligence if you don't have data bank. And data bank is just a way you collect your data, where you store your data. You can't use it because everything geospatial intelligence leverages the power of data to actually pull insights out of it. And when you pull insights, that's not the end. When you pull insights, your insights must actually be actionable. You can actually do something with these insights that will save the company some thousands of dollars. And so if you do that, it is until that time that you are truly integrating geospatial intelligence, right? So when you get the data, and the data must be very, very well connected to your objectives. So you can't say that you want movement data and you're getting only one longitude and latitude. It doesn't make any sense. Then the third one is the text selection. So there are a lot of stack that you can do. So I write Python, I write SQL, I write all kinds of languages. But there are just some projects that you just need Google Earth for. Your normal Google Maps, it could solve them for you. But if you are going into the deep part, then you can say that you want to start writing Python queries for it, SQL queries, Python programming language, and all of that. And then the next one is analytics and model development. The people who do analytics and model development really are those that actually work with a whole lot of data, big companies. I met somebody this morning, and they were telling me how that they work in breweries and all of those kinds of things. And so Dangote, all of those things, right? Because you can now predict what will happen based on historical happenings of what has happened. And then you expect certain things to go in a way like this. So in a way, you have your business planned out. And that's very interesting because when you have your business planned out, what it helps you to do is that you could do a forecast of your budget upfront. And this is very important for every business person. Finance is really something to actually be able to forecast. I would take question. Would end this very soon. And then training of data machine learning guys, testing it and then pushing it out and then making sure that it actually you are monitoring the performance to actually optimize it for the future. And then some practical case studies, and this is where I would drop my mic. I have three practical case studies, and most likely would have discussed about them. And the first one is a courier service is faced with challenges of inefficient delivery routes. I just found this thing out of my head with some things I've seen around, right? And it resulted in longer delivery times and increased fuel costs. With growing customer base, they needed a solution to optimize their routes and enhance their competitiveness. So first things first, when you are starting a business, you do not want to lose customers to stupid courses. It's not that you wouldn't lose customers. Most likely you would even agree that you will lose customers, but you do not want to lose customers to stupid courses. Now, one of those stupid courses is that you are delivering late and then you are using much more fuel. Those are the things you can solve. So what's the objective? Remember the integration strategy. So what's the objective? The major objective is I want to improve my delivery time. And then when I improve my delivery time, it immediately has an impact on the amount of fuel I use, right? So it's like you have one objective, improve my delivery time. So what do I do? This is where route optimization comes in. So we are going to this place, we've been passing this place. Can we do something called network analysis? So what network analysis does for you is that it shows you different junctions before you get to a particular place. So for every junction, there is always an opportunity of turning that leads you to another place. And then what that does for you is you could check the options you have across the different junctions. And to be very, very honest, most of the time, the road you would always find might not be the most pretty one. We're in Nigeria. But then if the calculations are done, the distance is done, the distance covered, the kilometers are done, and then you check the fuel you use, that could be one of the options you are having. The second option is actually real-time tracking, such that you are looking at what the delivery guy is doing. It's not that he's parking, he will first go to one booker to eat amala and meat when he has somebody's goods at his back. And then, so when something like that happens, you're calling him, hey man, where are you? What's going on? I can actually see you here. You're staying fine. Oh, I'm doing this. Yeah, cool. So you could also go through that route. Or another thing is actually that you have to know that there are places that are prone to traffic in this Lagos. Especially if you are working in Lagos. I'm very used to Lagos. There are places that are prone to traffic, and then you might want to avoid roads like that if there are actually options. Still about route optimization. The second one is a logistics company. This is about trucking, long haul cargo, and all of that. And then the problem is unscheduled downtime. This was where I was talking about maintenance updates, where that if you know how much mileage a truck covers, it could be used to predict how long that truck would actually be in existence. And then you could be able to do maintenance service or whatever these automobile guys do to the bus. Probably every year you take it for servicing and all of that. And then the last one is actually small businesses. So when I was developing this, I put one of my guys on the call, and he asked me a question, and that was what informed this. He said, I'm a small business. How do I leverage GIS? And I said, first of all, you need a data bank, collection of data and all of that. When that is done, you get, it's GIS, so you have to get a geospatial expert. You import your data into this. If it's only address of the people you have, there is something called geolocation. It turns those address into longitude and latitude, right? There's a script for it on Python, and if you write R programming, I think there is one for it also. It turns it into longitude and latitude. Bring it into probably QGIS if you are familiar with that, or HackGIS. Then you could do hotspot analysis, you could perform cluster analysis, you could perform network analysis, you could do all kinds of analysis, and then you could say that, hey, which one is better based on the objective I have to actually improve this. If it is demand you need, always go deep into why people buy from you, why people in that location buy from you. Because to be very honest, our environment informs how we think most of the time. It might not look like it in the obvious, but that's how we think. You think like you think like a Nigerian because you're a Nigerian. You can't look up to your father in the face, most of us, and say, bro, what's up? Bro, I wouldn't be here, majorly. They have been wheeling me to somewhere, right? So it informs how we think. And I think that, like this, I think that I've really been able to introduce you to geospatial intelligence and the ability to leverage geospatial intelligence. Thank you. So now, there was a particular question I showed up when we started. Yeah, if you have your questions, you can start like preparing them. There's a particular question I showed up when we started, and it was that, have you ever been stuck in go slow? When I was telling you guys to imagine yourself in a maze, all those things, all of this question, and I said you should follow me. So do you actually think that we can we can solve the problem now? Do we think we can? So I think that if we can, or if you think we can, I think I should give myself some 70%. I mean, A is good. So yeah, thank you very much. Any question? What? Hey, please don't have too much hard questions. All this English I'm saying. Okay, one, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many minutes do we have?
You have about 2 minutes more.
2 minutes. Okay. Let me take the first 3 questions. Let me take the first 3 questions. Who is the first person? Are you the first person? Yeah. So, yes. Yeah, you can.
Okay. Yeah. Good afternoon. Yeah. My name is Babatunde.
Okay.
So I want to ask, like, from what you've explained so far, I want to ask in the logistics space.
Yeah.
To me, probably because I work in the logistics space, I know. So So I feel like using geospatial intelligence is going to work, but I think it's not even that's not the major problem around logistics.
Okay.
For me, I feel like it's more about the riders themselves, like a rider's mindset.
Okay.
So, like you were explaining the reason for delay and all, it might not necessarily be the route optimization.
Okay.
Like riders just feel like, okay, maximizing their own profits, picking up a duplicate order alongside your own order,
Okay.
but which you will not even be aware of.
Okay.
I know, you understand. So I'm asking, like, do you think how can we probably apply this into that part first? Like,
Okay.
and there's also this issue, yeah, of insufficient riders at a particular location. So how can we probably leverage geospatial intelligence into that?
Thank you. Second question. Who's the second person?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Olatunji Abdulatif. So I'm an aerospace engineering student, a fresh graduate here at Kwara State University. So actually I find data fascinating and I'm trying to like apply it in the aerospace industry. I'm in aviation and I barely hear about it like application of data analytics in aerospace industry. Exactly. So actually this is I think this it's I don't have much knowledge about data analytics. I'm just a beginner, and I just find geospatial intelligence. Yeah. So, and I think that is what I'm really, really interested in because aviation basically is about transportation and logistics. You have to satisfy your customers, right? So, the question is, how has geospatial intelligence been leveraged in aviation industry, especially in Nigeria or Africa at large?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Who is the third person? Yeah, the third person. I'll just take the first 5. So if I have time, I'll take the next 5. Apologies, please.
All right, thanks for your time. My name is Arafat Ibrahim.
I can hear you.
Arafat Ibrahim, that's my name. So my own question on this, just thank you, sir. On this, the special intelligence is that there is issue in Nigeria. If you have this logistics management, you have the drivers that you think maybe you install trackers on their trucks. Sometimes there is a time in which a driver remove the tracker. So like someone is going to Shagam. So after delivering the goods in Shagam, you remove the tracker and put it somewhere, maybe that Shagam. So by the time you are looking at the real-time monitor, you see that it's still in Shagam. Whereas he has gone for another, some kind of black or deal in other place. How can we put in another type of leverage on this type of
Okay.
this?
Third person.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Pascal. I'm a data engineer. The question I have is, I'm involved in a project where we are basically rolling out a fleet of vehicles with with a certain set of drivers, a fleet of vehicles with a certain set of drivers. And the question on my mind really has been, which is why I came here, has been how I can. So as part of that process is we are partnering with certain filling stations where those drivers can, get out. Um, I'm really trying to figure out. I understand data and all that, but I'm trying to really figure out how do I get started with incorporating things around geospatial intelligence, with optimizing those systems, and with just allowing us to function at the with the way I imagine it, basically.
The fifth person.
All right, my name is Elizabeth. Yeah, so when it comes to managing small business, right? So how are we going to incorporate this geospatial intelligence? I know you've touched on it, but I'll just like to learn more about. If you can just give a brief on it, like I know of the tracker, like installing trackers in your bike, but what more can we do to leverage on geospatial intelligence?
Okay. So I would just quickly try to answer the first five questions. If we are still good, we'll do that. So the first one is problem of riders, and I think that is much more it's about personality than tools, right? When you say that riders would they're not truthful enough and all of that, tools don't solve issues like that. What solve issues like that, if it can be solved, dependent. And I think the first thing is about recruitment, how you recruit your people, the fundamentals of what they believe or how they think, right? I think that's the first thing. And I think because it's not like a formal industry like that you go to pick people from schools that have certificates and all of that, is even much more like tedious, right? But I'll just say that I think there should be personal development career classes for them. If you can help these people grow personally for themselves, to see what's in it for them, to personally just grow them, really. I think that's the issue, because somebody packing and doing dual deliveries or not really doing your stuff is not what GIS can solve. GIS or geospatial intelligence is just a tool that you leverage to pull out insight. So it's really not a geospatial intelligence problem. It's just a people problem, really. Yeah. So the second one is GIS in aviation. I was talking about radar, and radar is such that you can use to like monitor GIS in aviation and all of that. The first things first is actually that when you're talking about aviation, you're talking about large loads or large trucks and all of that, or a large amount of goods and all of that. And I think the major thing on that is that you can improve your demand forecasting as to where and how these goods come around, since you're not asking me about a particular problem there. And I think it happens because this is very possible because these are the people that deals with millions of dollars every day. I watch a particular crime investigation scene that is about how how planes actually crash and what happens. And I look at the cargo planes. These things are worth millions and millions of dollars, right? So I think demand forecasting can be good. How you can expand into the places that are actually getting stuff from you. How you can optimize your supplier selection. How you can optimize among your suppliers to select the right ones and all of that. Something around cluster analysis or spot analysis would like really do a lot of things there. Yeah. The third one is ethical issue. Who is the third person? I'm trying to remember what I said here.
I talked about the tracker issue being removed.
Yeah, so they removed the tracker. Just fire them. Because it is very, very terrible. It's integrity breach. And I think no company should take integrity breach as a joke. Because the reason why we actually put it there is to optimize our money. We pay you. You're not working for free. So if you are breaking this, it's not like that, like the other issue. It's not a tool issue. It's a people issue. And when it's a people issue, I would hand it over to the people guys, the HR guys, and all of that, and they have to do something about it. Either I don't want to see this person again, or the person doesn't remove the tracker. I don't care. Else, something would actually happen between both of us. They will carry somebody home because it's my money, right? The third one is GIS and data engineering. To be very honest here, I've thought about spatial data engineering. It's not something I've explored so much, but I think what in my head, I'm having a pictorial view of something around the way you do geospatial, the way you leverage.
Engineering the entire system end to end. I'm engineering the entire system end to end. I'm really just trying to figure out how do I get started with incorporating geospatial intelligence.
So I think that I could advise based on some tools I use when it comes to geospatial intelligence. I essentially use a lot of, there's a particular software called ArcGIS. If your data is not so much, but when your data becomes very much, you have to use the spatial libraries of Python. Right, so yeah, those will solve your problems. I know Python will solve it. Yeah. Then the last one with small businesses and GIS, really, you know what you would do for me? I don't know if you're the one. What you do is you first of all start by collecting data sets. Know where all your guys are ordering from. All of them. All of them. Everybody that's ever ordered. You can start from tomorrow. For the next 3 months, don't do anything with that. Just start stacking data together. It's a new business. You have to start from like somewhere. The first thing you can do if it's a new business can be, if you are opening a shop, you could look at suitability location sites where probably CBD, where you could say that there is a lot of actions going on here due to data you can actually get from the internet. There's a lot of action going on here, and the crux of those actions look like they buy some, they would need something that you would probably be selling. You could, that informs this consumer psychology part, which is not a tool that GIS would do. But when you know that these are the things that happen here based on this location, then you could use GIS to actually like do those cluster analysis, like I've said. And then when you actually start out the business, it will be very good because the time when geospatial intelligence works very well is when it has historical data on what has actually happened in that place. It's just like how your machine learning does, learns from historical data sets to actually predict what will happen. So the day you start, when somebody comes, when you put out a form, where are you buying from? They don't even need to put their 7 in case they think people want to kidnap them. They just need to put their area. And then when you get that, for the next 3 months, just do that repeatedly. And then probably get a GIS person to help you run some things, show you some maps, show you some patterns, because they are extreme patterns. You just see that some people just want to buy this kind of thing on a Sunday. I've never seen that thing before. On just Sunday, we are going to just, you want to buy on Sunday, right? So there are extreme patterns that actually lie under location data. I've seen extreme things in this field. So yeah, I think those are the first 5. Then where are the 6th person? If I give you number, new. If I don't give you number, I'm not calling you yet. Eh? Did I give you number? Offline. Okay, probably when you are done. So who is the 6th person? I would answer after the people I give numbers. 6th.
I'm not the 6th.
Who is the 6th person, please? Okay, I think I would have to move on now.
All right. Good day, everyone. My name is Rashid Bello. All right. So my question is, Nigeria is quite young, and in the aspect of data, and you seem to have worked in several projects. Now the problem is, I've been in workshop whereby the major challenges faced by Nigeria in terms of traffic, sanitation, water, and so on are reliant on data, what are the things you do for posterity in terms of banking those data for probably engineers and other profession to get them to make them accessible?
Like a special data infrastructure, I get you. Wait, one more question, the seventh person. Seventh. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, so basically, I just want to ask for resources on how to go deeper. Basically, I just want to ask for resources on how to go deeper in GIS, right? The only resource I've seen so far is on cargo, right? So,
Yeah, I was expecting somebody to do that. So what we do for posterity, so I think there is something called spatial data infrastructure, right? You can get data from sites like that, spatial data from sites like that. Um, um, there is something called spatial data infrastructure, and it's a central repo for spatial data sets, right? You could get from Africa Geoportal. I think you're writing down Africa Geoportal. I think you could get from Grid 3, and then you could get from OSM, OpenStreetMap. Then another one is resources. Yeah, I was thinking somebody would really hack this. If you want to learn GIS, I can recommend a kind of thread I wrote, but then let me just mention that because I studied GIS from 100 level in school, in FUTA, I really didn't have to like outsource my learning. But I think a very good place to start GIS is QGIS has a particular course on QGIS itself. That's one. And then there is this ArcGIS guy on Twitter, right, that like has a lot of ArcGIS data on Twitter. And I think that if you check Coursera, I think there is a particular one offered by Canada. I've forgotten the name of this school in Canada. Yeah. So somebody wants to add.
Okay, yes.
Just some 30 seconds.
Oh, thank you. I just want to make a bit of contribution to some questions earlier, right? Reference to question 1 and I think question 3. There's something we need to understand, right? There are some problems that are people problem, as the instructor said, and there are some problems that are data problems, right? You see, GIS on its own can assist in a long way in one of the questions the number 3 person asked regarding somebody pulling up the tracker, right? You can have situations where through your analysis, you're able to know, through consistent analysis and understanding of pattern, you will be able to know how long it is to get to Shagam and come back. And looking at this particular pattern with regards to that person, you can then be able to know fully well that something is quite amiss with this person pulling up the tracker. So with GIS, you can be able to understand the pattern and then know that there's a problem and address and bring out that problem. Now, it doesn't mean the GIS will deal with that, really, because it's also a people problem. It's a cultural thing. That the tool can help you, data can help you know there's a problem doesn't mean the data can directly solve it. It's a combination of other things. One thing we need to know about utilizing data and GIS is it goes beyond just the data and the analysis. There are other things that must come in culturally to ensure that you get the proper reward or result from using that data. Just a bit of context.
Thank you I'm sorry I can't take questions again. My organs at the top are already looking at me and like, we'll shoot you. So, do we understand geospatial intelligence? If you have questions, yeah, you can like touch me after the whole thing. Yeah, I think that's what I would like try to do, even though I'm like I'm a shy person. Okay, the slide. My Twitter handle. Okay. This is my Twitter handle. Yeah, that's my Twitter handle, right? So, do we understand geospatial intelligence now? I've been shouting now. You guys help me now. Do we understand geospatial intelligence now? Can we leverage geospatial intelligence now? So at this point, I say thank you very, very much. Yeah.